We enrolled our daughter in private school after years of struggles. She thrived. Our neighbor's son was rejected. The mother stormed over screaming, "We donated more than you ever did!" A week later, my daughter's scholarship was suspended. Someone had sent an email alleging academic dishonesty. Attached was a photo of her homework, allegedly plagiarized. Except, it was my neighbor's handwriting, copied from a tutoring session 2 years ago. We live in Asheville, North Carolina. My husband, Dave, and I have been scraping by for years trying to give our daughter, Lily, a better life than we had. I'm a nurse. He works long shifts at a hardware warehouse. Things haven't always been easy. We've been behind on bills more than once. But we've always agreed on one thing: Lily deserves the best shot we can give her. From the time she was a toddler, we knew Lily was different. She read early, loved puzzles, and talked like a little adult by the time she was 5. School was always too easy for her, and by middle school, her teachers were pushing us to think bigger. Private school, academic scholarships, that sort of thing. We applied to Blue Ridge Academy, one of the best private schools in the area. It's not for people like us. Tuition's over $20,000 a year. But they have a scholarship program. We worked with her guidance counselor, and Lily wrote an incredible personal statement. She got in, with a full academic scholarship. We were over the moon. I cried the day the acceptance email came. Dave hugged Lily so tight I thought he'd break her. She started in the fall and, true to form, she thrived. Honor roll, student council, mathletes. She finally felt like she belonged somewhere. Our neighbors across the street, the Harrisons, have a son, Jake. He's the same age as Lily. He'd been homeschooled on and off, bounced between schools, never really found his footing. I used to tutor him sometimes when Lily was in middle school. He and Lily weren't friends, not really. Jake was awkward, struggled with school, and honestly, seemed kind of jealous of her. His mom, Terry Harrison, always gave off this weird vibe, like she was competing with me and didn't know why she was losing. When the Harrisons found out about Blue Ridge, they applied for Jake. He didn't get in. We heard about it in passing. Terry mentioned it at the mailbox, her voice tight and clipped. "Guess they didn't think Jake was good enough," she said, fake laughing. I just smiled and said nothing. A week later, she showed up at our front door uninvited. It was around 7:30 p.m., just after dinner. Dave had the news on, I was rinsing dishes, and Lily was finishing up homework. The doorbell rang, and before I even opened it, I could hear Terry yelling, "We donated more than you ever did!" She screamed the second I cracked the door. "Do you think you're better than us? Your daughter wouldn't even be there if it weren't for people like us." She was red in the face, nostrils flared. She looked unhinged. I stepped outside and closed the door behind me. "Terry, what are you talking about?" "You know damn well what I'm talking about. Jake deserved that spot. We gave thousands to that school's fundraiser last year. And they gave the scholarship to her? She earned it," I said. "It was a merit scholarship." "Bullshit," she spat. "I see what's going on here." Then she turned and stormed off. I didn't sleep well that night. Something about her face, this mix of rage and entitlement, I knew she wasn't done. 1 week later, we got the email from the school. Due to a credible allegation of academic dishonesty, Lily's scholarship is suspended pending further review. Attached was a photo of a homework sheet. It was an algebra worksheet Lily had submitted earlier that week. The handwriting in the photo wasn't Lily's. It didn't even look close. They said it had been flagged as plagiarized. That it was submitted in an earlier term. They were investigating. Lily came home in tears. She swore she didn't cheat. I believed her. But it wasn't enough to believe her. I needed proof. I remembered the tutoring sessions. I used to keep copies of Lily's old homework and tutoring notes. I started digging through the basement. I stayed up all night. Around 2 a.m. I found it. A file folder from 2 years ago. Inside was a math worksheet. Same answers. Same handwriting. But it wasn't Lily's handwriting. It was Jake's. My hands were shaking. I compared the worksheets side by side, every number, every pencil stroke. It was a perfect match. She had used his old work and submitted it under Lily's name. The next morning, Dave and I took it straight to the school. We asked for a meeting with the principal. We laid it all out. Our evidence, the history, the tutoring connection, the photo from the accusation, and the original worksheet with Jake's handwriting. The principal, Mr. Weaver, looked stunned. He promised to escalate it. 3 days later, we got a call. They reinstated Lily's scholarship. Official apology. They could not comment on disciplinary action against the other party. But we knew what that meant. Terry Harrison hasn't spoken to us since. But this isn't over. Not for me. She tried to ruin my daughter's future. And she almost got away with it. Now it's my turn. After Lily's scholarship was reinstated, things didn't calm down. If anything, it got worse. The school cleared her name, but the damage had already spread. Some of the other parents must have heard about the cheating. You know how fast gossip spreads at private schools. A few parents who used to smile at me during pickup stopped looking my way. One mom even pulled her kid from Lily's science project group, saying they didn't want to get involved in any drama. It crushed Lily. I didn't do anything wrong, she kept saying. And she hadn't. But lies stick deeper than truth sometimes. I wanted to be done with the Harrisons. I wanted to ignore them. But Dave, he's not like me. He gets quiet when he's angry. And he had that look now. The same look he had when he got laid off 2 years ago and worked nights as a janitor just to keep our mortgage afloat. Focused. Determined. I'm going to talk to someone, he said. Who? A lawyer. I blinked. We don't have that kind of money. He nodded. I know. But maybe we don't need to. That week, he reached out to an old friend of his, Marty, who now worked as a legal assistant. Marty put us in touch with a firm that sometimes handled defamation cases pro bono, especially ones involving kids and education. We sent them everything: emails, screenshots, the homework samples, and even the neighbor's donation brag from the community Facebook group. They agreed to take a look. While that was happening, I started watching Terry. I know how that sounds. But after what she did to my daughter, I needed to understand why. I needed to see what else she might be capable of. She was smug, like she got away with something. Still posting pictures on Instagram of her garden and pretending to be this supportive mom in the community. I made a fake account and followed her. That's when I saw something strange. One post showed Jake at a computer with the caption, "College prep with my brilliant boy." And in the corner of the screen, barely visible, was a document titled, AP Lit Final, Sample Essay. I took a screenshot and sent it to Dave. Why would he be prepping for AP Lit when he didn't even attend Blue Ridge? Dave raised a brow. You thinking what I'm thinking? Yeah. What if this wasn't the first time? I started going through Jake's digital footprint, public uploads, shared links, old group posts on tutoring pages. I cross-checked writing samples from Jake and compared them to other student work I found in local academic contests. One essay that won an award for a Blue Ridge student last spring had entire paragraphs copied from Jake's old blog. But here's the thing, that essay wasn't submitted by Jake. It was submitted by another boy, someone from a completely different family. A student who didn't even live near us. I started wondering, was Terry helping other families cheat the system? Selling old assignments? Passing off Jake's work as templates? I couldn't prove that yet. But I saved every screenshot. Then the lawyer called back. They were interested in taking on a case. Not just for Lily, but possibly a broader complaint if others had been targeted or misled. We were told to stay quiet for now, to keep collecting anything relevant. Meanwhile, Lily started getting anonymous messages on her school email. Most were just stupid. Cheater, hope you get kicked out again. That sort of thing. But one message chilled me. It was a scanned copy of the exact homework sheet that had been used in the false plagiarism claim. With one line typed under it. Be careful what you dig up. Not everything should see the light. We showed it to the school. They took it seriously this time. The principal seemed nervous. He said they'd increase security on school accounts. But I saw the truth in his eyes. He knew something deeper was going on. Something bigger than just Terry being a petty neighbor. Now I'm in it. All the way in. And I won't stop until the whole thing comes crashing down. Terry wanted war? She picked the wrong mom. 3 weeks after that threatening email, we found a thumb drive in our mailbox. No note. No envelope. Just a plain black USB stick, dropped between grocery flyers and a gardening catalog. Dave plugged it into his work laptop in the garage, just in case. We didn't want anything traced back to our home computer. Inside were several folders labeled by year. 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. Each folder had files, homework assignments, essays, even scan tests. Hundreds of them. And in the metadata of many? Jake Harrison's name. His login. His timestamps. But they weren't submitted under his name. Each one had different student names at the top. Dozens of them. Some from Blue Ridge. Some from other schools. Some were scholarship applications. We saw at least 3 essays that had won grants or placements in national contests. We'd stumbled onto something way bigger than a petty neighborhood grudge. Terry had built a system. She'd been using Jake's work, his actual schoolwork from the few years he was enrolled anywhere, and selling it or giving it away to other families to boost their own kids. In exchange for donations, recommendations, support for Jake's future applications. Possibly even money, though there was no proof of that yet. Jake had been used. And based on the timeline, he probably didn't even know. That night, I emailed the lawyer everything. The next day, the school announced an internal investigation. Then, local news caught wind of a potential academic fraud ring involving private school students and anonymous essay submissions. They didn't mention names. But we knew. Terry stopped posting online completely. Then one night, late, maybe 11:45, I saw her outside. She was walking circles in her backyard, talking on the phone. Pacing hard, hair up in a bun, waving one arm around like she was scolding the wind. I opened the bathroom window and leaned just enough to catch words. "I told them to delete everything," she hissed. "You said it would be untraceable. You said I'd be protected." Then silence. The next morning, the lawyer told us they'd been contacted by another family. Their daughter had won a scholarship last year. She now believed her application had been boosted with a purchased essay. She remembered meeting a woman through a Facebook moms group, someone offering editing help. Terry again. More families started coming forward. One claimed they were promised better chances at Blue Ridge if they made a donation to a preferred list of donors. Another had been given a fake reference letter, signed with a forged administrator's name. The thumb drive we got? It had become key evidence. The lawyer told us, "You lit a fire. And it's spreading. And here's the wildest part. Lily wasn't the only one who'd been sabotaged. 2 other students had been expelled in the last 3 years over plagiarism. Quietly. No press. No formal hearings. Just gone. Now I'm wondering how many of them were real cheaters, and how many were framed like Lily." Dave wanted to go straight to the media. "They need to hear this from you," he said. "Not just lawyers and emails." But I wasn't ready. Not yet. I needed to know one last thing: how far Terry was willing to go. And what kind of people had been helping her behind the scenes. So I called in a favor. My cousin Matt works part-time IT at the school's admin office. He's not supposed to talk about anything sensitive, but when I told him it was about Lily, and that someone faked a school account to send her threats, he agreed to help. What he found? There had been multiple fake parent accounts created through the school's system. Used to upload essays, send messages, and even file anonymous concerns about students, like the one that targeted Lily. One of the fake accounts had been created using the IP address from Terry's workplace. She worked in real estate, and she'd been using her work computer to access school systems. And now we had proof. But this story's not over. Not yet. Because when someone tries to destroy your child's future, you destroy every lie they ever told. I knew it was time to go public. We gave everything to the lawyer. The fake accounts. The thumb drive. The recorded phone call Terry had with someone, likely one of her clients. The screenshots. The kids who were wrongfully expelled. The whole thing was a rotten mess. I reached out to a local reporter who covered education scandals. We met at a diner just outside of town. I brought a folder thick with proof. She listened. Took notes. Her hand stopped when I said, 3 innocent kids had their lives ruined. And one of them was mine. A week later, the story broke. It hit like a bomb. The headline ran, "Asheville Mom at Center of Private School Cheating Ring. Dozens of students involved." Photos of Terry Harrison. Interviews with parents. Testimonies from expelled students. Even Jake's name slipped out eventually, though the piece made it clear he was a victim too. Blue Ridge Academy had no choice but to respond. The headmaster resigned. The school board launched an emergency audit. They issued a public apology to the families who were affected. Terry? She was arrested for fraud and identity theft. Her office fired her the same day. Her husband left 2 weeks later. Took Jake with him and moved across state lines. Turns out, Terry had been making backdoor promises to parents for years. Boosting applications, selling Jake's work, forging references, even offering to fake transcripts for college apps. All under the table. All untraceable, until she got sloppy. Until she tried to hurt Lily. Jake's handwriting, the one thing she didn't think anyone would recognize, was what undid her. The school reached out to us. They offered to make amends. They gave Lily a full ride until graduation. No more scholarship renewals. No more reviews. She got a formal apology in front of her class. But even with that, something had shifted. Lily never quite fit in again. The trust was gone. She still got good grades, but she stopped joining clubs. Didn't run for student council again. She kept her head down and just waited to graduate. And me? I learned I wasn't clean either. The lawyer's firm got hit with a counterclaim. Terry's defense tried to argue we violated privacy laws by digging into school servers and personal devices. They said I acted with intent to harm. They weren't wrong. I did want to hurt her. I wanted her to feel fear, shame, public disgrace. I told the truth, but I told it like a weapon. The case got thrown out, but the damage to my name stayed. Some called me brave. Others called me vindictive. Parents whispered. A few people even tried to start a petition to get Lily removed again, claiming we tainted the school's image. But here's the part one think about most. One of the boys who got expelled, the first one, his mom found me on Facebook. She sent me a message. "You saved my son's life," she wrote. After they expelled him, he stopped talking. Got depressed. We thought we lost him. Now he's got his name cleared. He's smiling again. Thank you? That message meant more than anything the school ever said. Terry tried to destroy my daughter's future because her own son didn't measure up. In the end, she lost everything. And maybe I lost some peace, too. Maybe I stopped being the person who just wanted fairness and became someone who needed revenge. But I'd do it again. Every single step. Because nobody messes with my child.